What's up, guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. I'm going to be doing another episode of how to reach Legend and Go Battle League, where basically rather than shoutcast a bunch of battles like 5, 10, 15 battles with them sped up, I'm going to be showing you just 3 battles today that are my own, and these are some of the I'm not messing with you. I'm not like trying to clickbait or sell these over the top. Like, these are some of the most epic battles that look like they're lost completely that I thought about top lefting, that somehow we find a way to win. They're in a pretty high elo range, the 3400s. So I'm going to be playing these at normal speed. I'm going to be pausing at different points throughout the video, and I'm going to be just kind of showcasing my thought process throughout these battles, because I know a lot of you guys, it seems like most of you guys really enjoy when I do this style. A lot of you guys love my like shoutcasting style, my commentary, when I get like hyped up and make it exciting. But also, I think a lot of you guys that are striving to get better at PvP and try and eventually reach whatever your goal is, maybe that's ace, veteran, expert, or legend. I think you guys, a lot of you really enjoy when I break down my full thought process. So let's get into it. Also, before the battle starts, shout out to Wholesome, who's a terrific streamer and content creator in the Pogo community. He's the person that came up with this team. This is not my team. This is Wholesome's team, and I've been using it because I'm someone that doesn't have access to a lot of XL Pokemon. So, yeah, triple non-XL team, and it's helped me get to like number 20-something on the leaderboard recently. So, yeah, shout out to Wholesome. Links in the description. Go check him out on Twitch. But our first game is against Eric, and we lead against the Dragonite. So immediately, pause. Machamp, not a great matchup against Dragonite. It's going to resist our counters. It's going to outpace us to Dragon Claw before we can threaten it with a Rock Slide. So this is where I would switch out, because I have 2 neutral answers for this Dragonite. But my Snorlax and my Amuk, they are both neutral counters, versus Machamp kind of struggles against Dragonite. So I'd rather switch out of this to hopefully line up my Machamp somewhere else. So that's what you'll see me do. I switch instantly into Snorlax. Dragonite and Snorlax get to Body Slam and Dragon Claw at the same time. I tried to sneak in an extra lick here, which I think I was able to do. And I'm deciding if I want to shield. I know this is going to hurt, even though it's just a claw. And then you're going to see some lag occur there. So it's nice when I can do these longer videos, because you'll see the claw come through, right? And after the claw, he instantly gets a Dragon Tail damage. So I lagged for like a full fast move, and that's going to play a major factor because it like throws off my timing. And as you're going to see, after I throw this Body Slam, and I expect him to shield because Dragonite's super glassy, I'm not even going to get to another move. And who knows, I might have been able to get to another Body Slam if it wasn't for that lag. So this puts us already in a terrible position. I'm already thinking, man, this is really tough. But I'm going to come in with Amuk, and I'm running Poison Jab on my Amuk. So I'm going to be able to do some nice fast move damage here. He's got a lot of energy. I don't expect him to go for a big move like an Outrage. So I'm not going to shield here, knowing that he's probably going to get to another Claw. But I know I can take 1 Claw at least. I do sneak in a Poison Jab there, which is really good. And I'm going to have to shield because I figure Amuk might be valuable for whatever's in back. And this will allow me to farm down the Dragonite, get some energy. So I'm like, oh boy, all right, what's going to come in? I'm waiting to see that typing. Bug Steel. As soon as I see Bug Steel, I know that my energy on Muck is probably going to be more valuable elsewhere. So I instantly swap into my Machamp, and then they swap into a Jellicent. And this is where I'm like, okay, this game is over, right? This game is over. But I'm like, you know, I'm going to play it out. I have the energy on Muck. Maybe I can force a mistake or something and just play it out rather than top lefting. And here is an example. When you're in a terrible situation in PvP, you need to think, what is my win condition? You might hear streamers or content creators use that term. What's my win con? How could I possibly turn this around with this game? So theoretically, if I shield here, if it's a Shadow Ball, my next Rock Slide won't KO, and then they'll just Shadow Ball me anyway. If I shield and it's a Bubble Beam bait, then they'll Shadow Ball me and I lose. What's my win con? My win con is them trying to bait me with Bubble Beam and not shielding it. So that's why you're going to see me not shield here. So my opponent Bubble Beams, and I call it correctly. And I'm like, okay, we're staying alive. And there's really no reason for them to bait. But for them, maybe they thought, maybe in their mind, Bubble Beaming was safe because they didn't want all that energy to go to waste. But it was actually the opposite. You see my Rock Slide doesn't KO. Well, not even close to KO. And once again, here I'm like, okay, where am I going to expend my shield? I probably want to save it for a drill run on the Escavalier. So I take the Bubble Beam. I store up the move and I combo play. So because we were able to call those Bubble Beams, and because we're keeping an eye on our timer, and our timer is going to be up just a split second before their timer is up because they switched out after us, I'm able to store my energy, combo play with the Dark Pulse I had loaded, and Muk, I believe, is going to win CMP against the Jelly. So we take it out with a Dark Pulse, and now I have to recognize, okay, I have a Rock Slide and a Cross Chop on my Machamp. I'm seeing how healthy this is. At first, I was thinking about Acid Spraying. That's why you see me tapping over the Acid Spray, because I thought that might weaken the defense enough where a move on the Machamp could KO. But I realized, based off, in the split second, based off how much that counter did, I knew I could live one more counter, and I felt like the safe play was to Dark Pulse and then use my move on Machamp, because I wasn't sure if Acid Spray plus a move would be enough, but I was feeling pretty confident that a Dark Pulse plus a move would be enough. So I'm going to get off the Dark Pulse here just before Muk goes down. I have the move. I Cross Chop. A mistake there. I should have Rock Slided because it does slightly more damage than Cross Chop, but this should be enough anyway because Escavalier is fairly glassy, and we find a way to win when it looked like there was absolutely no way to win. So basically, the major takeaway from that game was the major turning point of that game. We had the lag in the beginning. We were in a terrible spot. The major turning point was when we called the Bubble Beam. When the attack was coming in here and we called the Bubble Beam. This was recognizing what's my win con. My win con is them baiting and me calling it. If I shield there, I lose. So that was where it turned, and we get a pretty crazy win there. So that's game 1 of 3. And yeah, these battles, by the way, were on stream, and I've kind of like clipped them from my stream. So I was really like thinking about, do I show you guys the live clips and me like reacting kind of epically? But I thought these were such good battles that they could be a good like breakdown type of video like this. So let me know in the comments if you'd rather see me like doing them live. But I mean, that's what Twitch is for, right? Doing them live. All right, next game. We see a Swampert in the lead. If you guys decide to run this team, Swampert I think of as a pretty good lead because Machamp can either get you the lead or it could get you a shield advantage here. And also your backline struggles a little bit against Swampert. Muk really struggles against Swampert since Swampert resists the poison jabs. And then Snorlax just gets outpaced by Swampert, so it's not a very comfortable matchup for Snorlax either. Machamp is your best answer for Swampert, so I like seeing in the lead. If you're not familiar with your counts, so Swampert runs Mudshot, Hydro Cannon. Mudshot is 9 energy per Mudshot. Hydro Cannon is 40 energy. So multiples of 5, right? 5 Mudshots gives you 45 energy. So then you'd throw a Hydro Cannon after 5. You're left with 5 residual energy. And then you'd get 36 more energy from your next 4 Mudshots. So that's why the count for Swampert is always 5-4, 5-4 for the Hydro Cannons. And for Machamp, it's 7 energy per counter. Cross Chop is 35 energy. So you're always going to get to Cross Chop after 5 counters. So that's why I like to try and not throw right away. I try and sneak in a counter if I can. And there you saw me sneak in the counter. So now if they don't sneak in a counter, or if they don't sneak in a Mud Shot rather, I'll be able to get off both my Cross Chops. It was kind of hard to tell there. I wasn't sure if they snuck one in or not. Looks kind of weird. But I get off my cross chop. I get a shield. Yeah, so it just was kind of desynced, but they did sneak in a mud shot. I'm going to shield because I feel like it's worth it. And I'm going to do 4 counters. I'm trying to CMP tie him here. Cross chop coming through because I thought he might have snuck in like an invisible one. Then it looks really weird here. Like, I'm not sure what happened. Like, this matchup is all like, because we like threw 2 moves, but then he somehow won CMP. I'm not sure how that worked. And I barely lived the Hydro, and I get off my cross chop. So this is huge. You're going to see me win the lead here, and you always want to win the lead scenario when you can. And I might use some terms here that for a lot of you great battlers out there, you guys think are like very you're used to and are very simple. But switch advantage is a big part of PvP. And if you can win the lead without going down shields, you always want to go for that, because then when something comes in, you have what they call switch advantage, and you're allowed to have the alignment you want, and you can choose what you want to come into against the next Pokemon. So a Galvantula, I don't have an obvious response to this, but I decide I'm going to come in with Amuk here, just because I can do some nice fast move damage. And I thought if he switched, one reason I also came in with Amuk was because if he had switched, I thought I would be able to potentially acid spray and debuff something, which could put me in a good spot if they were locked in. But he switches into an Escavalier, and this is terrible. This beats both of my back Pokemon. So I'm thinking, how do I get out of this? And I'm gonna chip and dip. I'm gonna Dark Pulse it, and then I'm gonna come in with Lax and take it out. And because Escavalier is quite glassy, it's not gonna appreciate a Dark Pulse here. It's gonna do quite a bit of damage. Boom, takes it out. And Escavalier, it doesn't get stab on its moves. So even though it's very attack weighted, actually, what's he going to go for here? He goes for a Drill Run. So he must not have like Mega Horn. He must be running like Aerial Ace or something. And even though Body Slam's resisted by its Steel typing, I know that Escav is very glassy. So this Body Slam should still be enough to take it out. And I don't want to debuff myself with Superpower. In comes the Galv, and I'm already thinking ahead at this point. So, like, I'm keeping track of the Galv's Volt Switches. I've lost here, but I think this is like its 5th or 6th Volt Switch. And I'm hoping if he tries to commit a full farm down, I'm going to be able to get off a Body Slam, which is going to do quite a bit of damage. And at that point, I'm hoping I'll be able to Poison Jab down. And I do barely get to this Body Slam before fainting. This is going to do a really nice chunk of damage, but this Galv also has a ton of energy. I go down, and now I'm just spamming, and at this point, there's no reason for me to like even be thinking about a charge move, because I just got to commit to fast moves. I don't sneak in a fast move there. The Galv is going to lunge me here, which does a little less than half. I sneak in a Poison Jab, and now I'm just hoping this next move doesn't KO, but I know the next Volt Switch will KO. So the one Poison Jab snuck through, and the second Poison Jab gets through because Poison Jab is a 2-turn fast move, and it will apply before the 4-turn fast move Volt Switch. If my opponent had gone double Discharge, I think they would have won, because Discharge, if I'm not mistaken, does slightly more damage than Lunge. And granted how little health I had left, I think if they had gone double Discharge, I actually would have lost that game. But a very epic game nonetheless, when there was an Escavalier in back, which beat both of our back Pokemon. And now we go into game number 3 against Ventusky, who is one of the best battlers in the world. If you're not familiar with him, a 2-time Sylph legend, which, is he the only one that's done that? Or has Vanny done that as well? I'm not sure. I think maybe Ventusky and Vanny, the only people that are 2-time Sylph legends. But yeah, very credentialed battler. One of the best battlers in the world, easily. In my opinion, Dunebug is probably the best battler in the world, but I think Ventusky's in the conversation. But anyway, Machamp versus Shadow Nidoqueen lead. Shadow Nidoqueen is the worst possible lead you can probably see for this team, just because it beats all 3 Pokemon. But Machamp is my worst matchup for this. So the reason I'm switching into Amok is kind of the main reason that you normally switch out. It's kind of like my soft counter to Nidoqueen. It loses to Nidoqueen, but Nidoqueen has to go for Earth Power to threaten it. Whereas Machamp, I gotta get out of there. Nidoqueen resists everything, and I'm taking heavy neutral damage. And then Snorlax, it's a neutral matchup, but because Nidoqueen is so OP with its Poison Fang that debuffs every single time now, it's not going to be a fun matchup for Snorlax because they could simply just like debuff me and then get out of there. Versus Muk, they're not really going to want to debuff me and get out of there because like Poison Fang's not going to do anything to Muk. So that's why I switch Muk. And then we're just going to play this out. I try and click on the Dark Pulse right away to get like a desynced CMP tie here to try and create some desync in the switch clock. I do respect the Earth Power, and fortunately for me, he didn't bait. I do get the CMP tie here, which is really nice. So now if he decides to switch, we're going to have some big desync. And I land the Dark Pulse. He does switch into Scrafty. And at this point, I'm thinking this is pretty good for me because my Snorlax in back is going to avoid this Scrafty. And also, because we both throw in a couple of charge moves, I know I should be able to get out of this at some point and maybe get some energy on Machamp. And because the Nidoqueen had already taken the Dark Pulse, the Nidoqueen is going to be threatened a little bit by Machamp's energy. Machamp hits very hard. And I know this is just another power-up punch because I'm keeping track of Scrafty's moves. And once again, for Scrafty, its counter is 7 energy. Power Up Punch is 35 energy, so it's going to be 5 counters to every Power Punch. And then Foul Play is 45 energy, so it's always 7-6, 7-6 for Foul Play. I aggressively swap into the Machamp, and I'm able to store some energy on my Muk that I could potentially use for later. And I know there's a desync in the switch clock, so by switching, he's not going to be able to get out of here with Scrafty. And this will get rid of the Scrafty. He does get to a move here, but I know it's just a power-up punch, so I don't need to shield it, even though it's been boosted. Power punch, a very weak move. It's more so for vamping up your attack. I get a nice big farm. I'm expecting the Nidoqueen to come back. And because I have this energy, I think I can get to 2 cross chops here. So I'm going to build up, act like I'm going for a bigger move, like a Rock Slide or potentially a Payback. But I see that I can get to 2 cross chops. So 2 cross chops definitely would do more than 1 Rock Slide. So that's why I'm going to go for 2. I get a shield, and I get to this next one, which is really nice for me. Machamp putting in some work. And I get both shields. Which makes me think, okay, he might be double weak to fighting. And the reason I come in with Muk here is kind of interesting. Normally, you wouldn't want to come in with something that's so low because you could potentially get farmed. But I remembered I had this residual energy, so I knew I could survive a couple of poison jabs. And my opponent was either going to have to expend their energy on my Muk, or I was going to get off this move. And I was okay with either. So luckily for me, Ventusky probably didn't realize that I had that much energy. And I get to a Dark Pulse here, and this is going to get rid of the Nido. And now Snorlax up a shield is going to beat most things because Snorlax has so many neutral matchups. And normally this isn't a positive matchup for Snorlax because Mandibuzz resists the lick damage. But because I'm up a shield, I should be in a pretty comfortable spot now. And also, the reason I shielded the first move, you may be wondering, because why not shield after I debuff myself with superpower, you could be thinking. The reason I shield the first is because by shielding the first move, they're not going to be likely to bait on the first one. So if I let a Dark Pulse go, he might decide to Aerial Ace bait me on the next one. And Aerial Ace does significantly less damage. It's less energy. So that's why I decided to shield the first one. I recognize that Dark Pulse did less than half. So I know I can eat 1 more Dark Pulse. So at this point, I know Snorlax has a much higher attack than Mandibuzz, who's very defense weighted. And I'm just, this is a little bit extra. Superpower probably would have KO'd from here, so I could have just clicked it. but I decided I would just wait for him to throw one more time, and then I would throw my superpower to be safe, just to not run the risk of like superpowering. He survives somehow and then takes me out after I've been debuffed, you know? So that's kind of the thought process there. Superpower takes out the Mandibuzz, and we get a nice win there over Ventusky. So that is the 3 battles I had for you. A lot more in-depth in terms of my thought process throughout the battle. It seems like the vast majority of you guys really enjoy when I do this type of video, so I hope that you did enjoy. Also, we got an influx of subscribers, probably like 500 or so, from Brandon Tan's shout out. So I hope you guys, if you're some of you guys have been really kind and saying you're glad that he recommended because you enjoy the content here, and I appreciate y'all. Unfortunately, it seems like the creators he gave a shout out to that all received an influx of subscribers, YouTube has like unsubscribed automatically the people that subscribed from him. So I've seen other content creators, but I think that's the case as well, because I think we were like well over I think we were like approaching 22,000, and then I looked back and we had lost like 500 subscribers. So if you guys notice that you've been automatically unsubscribed, feel free to resubscribe, and I'd appreciate it. But anyway, besides the point, some really epic battles there. And once again, I was deciding like, because I could have done like 3 things. I could have made these into like shorts. I could have done it like this. I could have done a normal video where they're sped up and I'm just kind of quickly shoutcasting through. I could have shown you the live version where I was actually on stream doing these battles. So yeah, I had a lot of like options to choose from for these epic 3 battles, but I decided I thought a breakdown to like focus on all the nuances would be pretty cool. But yeah, all that said, thank you guys very much for watching. Got some more content coming for you soon, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.